Hello everyone, it's Russ of Aquarimax here. I'm here with my dart frogs. Thought I'd do a live stream just giving a little bit of an update of the vivarium in the last little while. It's been a couple of weeks, I think, since I set this up. The video actually went out a little later, after it got set up. So, I am in the house. Thank you to all of you who have been here already. Check out that frog. She's going to hide. I think that's one of the girls, yeah. So who's in here? Insert annoying message bragging that I'm first. Dr. Spud in the house. Everything created in the house. Kenneth Reyes, you need to make a millipede maintenance video. Cool. I kind of did. I made one about my ivory millipedes that went over general millipede maintenance, but I would be happy to make one that's like more in-depth. That's a good idea. I like it. Elaine Smith is in the house too. Hi. And she seconds the idea. She seconds the motion of a millipede maintenance video. Okay. Sounds cool. Little Bob in the house too. Just got back from Florida. Cool. Nice. I've been to Florida once, Miami Beach, enjoyed it. I actually made an Aquarimax video about it. It's an old one, but it was fun. It was like 2015, I think. Saw a lot of wildlife, including iguanas. It was fun. Feral iguanas. Dogon, hello. Yeti Grant, what's up? Nice to see you here. Jeffrey27 says, my grindle worm culture isn't starting. I added fish flakes, misted down cocoa fiber, and put a plastic lid on top. What am I doing wrong? Sounds good so far. How long has it been going? What's your temperature? Wet sleeves, hey. Oh, from Scotland. Nice. Glad to hear it. It's always nice to have some Scottish contributors. I like your name too. It just puts in mind the idea that you're in your aquariums and busy doing things in your aquariums all the time. Dogon says, thanks for the videos. Lots of good information here. You are appreciated. Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. That is awesome to hear. Well, everyone, I wanted to just take a second. I'm going to give you the tour of the vivarium and what's going on. You can see the Selaginella is taking off. It died back almost entirely when I put it in the vivarium at first, which is pretty normal for that to happen. A lot of dieback when you first plant a vivarium due to the transplantation shock and the processing and all that kind of stuff. It's growing back, as you can see. Same thing with the lemon button fern. Right in the middle of the screen there, you can see a frond coming out of the dead stuff. Right here, this is a mini orchid. Looks like it's doing okay. Never did die back. The bromeliads, of course, are doing great. They're not dying back at all. And in fact, I don't know if you can see this in there, but they're producing all kinds of roots, especially these two. This one you can see roots up against the cork bark in the back there, maybe. I can. I don't know if you can see them. The hare's foot fern right here in the middle of the screen now died back almost completely, but it's coming back, as you can see. The philodendron actually did pretty well. It got a couple of brown spots, but other than that, it's doing fine. So the frogs are utilizing every bit of the vivarium, as you can see. Here is one of my females here, and she is climbing up. I tried to make it so that they had places they could climb up to the top, and I've seen them all the way up at the top. I've seen them on the bromeliads, up in the corners there, like in the corner that's right in the top middle of the screen there. They're just everywhere. And of course they love their little coconut hut. And I've seen eggs in there. My daughter spotted the first ones. I've seen eggs a couple of times. Since I have two females, they've been eating the eggs. But I may have to change something, move one temporarily, something like that. So Little Bob says, since I'm Irish and I love animals, I went about catching lizards, but people were looking at me like I was mad because the anoles aren't nearly as cool to them, since they have them there all the time. Yeah, I know what you mean. We had them both, excuse me. We had anoles when I lived in Hawaii, and they were extremely ubiquitous. They were there all over the place, and people thought it was a little weird that I went after them. And I saw a lot in Hawaii, or in Florida too. Just everywhere, but I was enjoying it. Powerful Lance, catching the live stream. Awesome. Jeffrey27 says about 3 days. It's at room temperature, about 78 degrees. I'm having the same issue with my Daphne eggs too. Well, as far as the grindle worms go, I'd say wait a week. If you're not seeing anything in a week, I think your culture's bad, honestly. If you see something starting within a week, you'll probably be in good shape. They'll usually, if you have anything in a week, you'll have tons in 2 weeks, usually. So yeah, if not, see if you can contact the seller and get a refund or get a new group shipped to you. Crystal Casares is in. Hello, my friend, and hello to you. Welcome. Nice to see you here, Crystal. Little Bob said, would be able to tell me what a black frog with bright red legs in Florida is. I saw it in the middle of the night and tried to catch it, but saw the bright colors and thought maybe not. Interesting. I'm not sure what that one is. Does anybody know that? That's not particularly familiar to me, but I don't know. I think they have some various introduced species in Florida. When I lived in Hawaii, they had a dart frog species that had been introduced there. It was Dendrobates auratus. The morph they had is the black one with the green marbling. And powerful lens indicates that it is Fred the frog. Cool. Jeffrey27 says, okay, thanks. I know the seller says you can't get a refund though. For my Daphne, should I feed them before the eggs hatch and add an air pump? And let's see. I would not feed them before the eggs hatch. I would wait till after they do. Wet Sleeve said, what would you say are your top 5 plants, aquatic or non-aquatic? Ooh, that's a good question. A great question, in fact. Well, let's see. Both aquatic and non-aquatic, one plant that'll do double duty that I really love, well, it's not one plant, it's one group of plants, the bryophytes or the mosses. I love mosses of all types. I used to grow aquatic mosses in fairly large quantities. Haven't done that for a while, but I used to grow Christmas moss and Java moss and Taiwan moss, and also some of the liverworts like Pellia and Riccia and stuff like that. So I really love mosses. I love snake plants, are also known as sensivarias. Let's see. In terms of plants that I'm really excited about doing now, bromeliads are really up there. I also keep tillandsias in some of my vivariums, and those are really fun. I love some of the simple aquatic plants like Java fern and Anubias, like Anubias nana. Love that. And I am a big fan of guppy grass, just because it grows like crazy and is easy. I like the slow-growing crypts, like, you know, most crypts are slow-growing, I guess. Crypt wentai, crypt parva, I'm excited about growing that. I love Pogestemon stellata octopus. So there are some plants, I guess, that I like. It's hard to nail them down. I love ferns too, obviously. I got a couple of ferns here. Hard to say. Let's see, hopefully that gives you an idea of some of my favorite plants. The Jeffrey27 says, all that, I also have it in a window, but it doesn't get hot. Does it get light? The Daphnia, this is the Daphnia tank, right? As long as it doesn't get hot, probably okay. The light will actually help. If it gets too hot, then all bets are off. But yeah, it sounds like you're probably good. And is it lagging? Let me know. And Wet Sleeve says, oh, good answer. Love me some mosses and areocaulons. Now, which ones are those? That name sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure I know which one you're talking about. But I would love to know. Yeah, did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned the liverworts that I used to grow. I love those too. Well, in other news, I've got the shipping weather's coming back. I'm going to be shipping out some baby geckos soon. I've got a big crop of them. The other day, though, a really sad thing happened. I looked over in my vivarium. I was in bed, looked over in my vivarium, which was right by my bed, and a female gecko was grabbing a little newly hatched baby in her mouth, and I got her to let go of it, but then it dropped to the bottom, and I lost it, could not find it. Really upsetting. I hate it when that happens. The Jeffrey27 says, yeah, it's facing west. It gets light, though. I'm in a townhouse, so I can't have it face north or south. Got it. Well, sounds like it could work. Okay, everyone. I am going to go to face-to-face mode because I'm getting tired of holding the vivarium up. So everybody say goodbye to the frogs for now, and we're going to go to the face-to-face modality as soon as I can get this to work. Where's my camera switch? There it is. Okay, I'm backing up. Beep, beep. Oh, I just hit something. Hopefully that's not my lamp, but it is my lamp, but I didn't knock it over. Okay, sorry, this part's always awkward, but here we go. I'll get this hooked up and ready to go. Sorry, I put my thumb totally in front of everything. Okay, Now, I think we are good to go. So where are we? Little Bob says, so would you ever think about getting a tarantula? Well, I might think about it, but my wife says no, and I'm good with that because she prohibits so few things that prohibiting tarantulas is okay with me. They are pretty fascinating, but I'm good with the prohibition. Wet Sleep says, my favorite liverwort is Utricularia graminifolia, super cool plant. Oh, I think I've had one of the Utricularias before. I have, but it wasn't that one. It was one of the pest species that would just get mixed in with my Riccia. But I would like to try that one. I've seen that in photos in carpets. It looks awesome. Crystal Casario says, I like merino mossballs plant. Me too, actually. I've never grown one, but I thought it would be cool to do so. And I used to have, and maybe still do, among the lava stones in my Opaiula tank, a brackish mini mossball that does not get bigger than about an inch. Reproduces really slowly. I had a lot of them, and then I moved my vivarium or aquarium with my Opaiula in it, and I'm not sure what happened to them. Hopefully they'll reappear. And Harley Shemsedin says, hey, welcome Harley. And thank you, Little Bob. Christopher Casari says, and also how your praying mantis doing. Oh, okay. Well, I've got a lot of good news. I'm going to make a video more about this, but my mantis had a mismoult and it was terrible. Couldn't eat, and I had to hand feed it for like 3 weeks, and then it molted again, and now it's good to go. It's missing a very small portion of its foreleg, just the very tip of its raptorial foreleg, not the spike, but the part that has the actual foot on it, on one of the legs, but it's functional. It can hunt by itself. It's great to go. It's eating a lot, and so it was a hard experience watching it go through that, not being able to hunt it by itself, but now it's doing great. I also caught a mantis at the bus stop while I was waiting to be picked up. The bus had dropped me off. I was waiting for my wife to come pick me up at the bus stop, and I saw a mantis, and I caught it. So I have a normal Chinese mantis as well as my giant Asian mantis. So Harley Shamsuddin says, how many isopod cultures do you have? I have 19 different types, and I think I have at least, I'm not sure, 21 different culture containers, maybe more, but at least that many. Jay's Crazy Obsessions. Hey, welcome back. Little Bob says you could get a slow-moving species and put it in a vault so your wife isn't afraid of it escaping. If I could get a vault, maybe. Harley Shamsuddin says, also, what are the normal gray slaters called? The wood lice, yeah. They are, it depends on the species. There are quite a few species that have that normal gray coloration. One of the most common is Procellio scabber. That is common in many parts of the world. It's been introduced in a lot of places. It's not the only species, though. There are a lot of others that have that coloration, but with just saying normal gray slaters, if that's the one you're thinking of, the ones that can't roll up, it's likely to be Procellio scabber. And then if it is the kind that rolls up, Armadillidium vulgaria is also very common. So Johnny Boy says, just a quick question. Is springtail reproduce better in warmer 25 plus or more around 17 to 20? Depends on the species, temperate or tropical, but I would say generally if you're around 25°C, you should be fine with most species that are commonly kept in the hobby. Yeah. And then I guess I've already answered Little Bob's question. The Chinese mantis that I have is actually an adult male. So, oh, I just can say Harley. Okay, cool. That makes life easy. Jules says, does your wife keep any pets? Yes. The cat we have is a cat in common with everyone. The chickens are everybody's. But she also has her own crested gecko, which we got at a reptile expo. She just could not leave without it. They were inseparable, and so, yep, she has her very own crested gecko. And Harley says they roll up into a ball. Okay, probably Armadillidium vulgare then. Brubby TV, hello, welcome. Have you had a Pac-Man frog? I'm researching them. That is one I have not had yet. I am interested in them, and I've done some research on them. I think they're pretty cool, but I have not had any of the Argentine horned frogs or Pac-Man frogs yet. You're going to bring the tools to build the vault, Little Bob, huh? Cool. Yeah. Well, I have a neighbor who used to pour concrete, so, maybe he could help us out with the vault. All right. Well, we got 20 in the house. Nice. Harley says, I have a culture of the armadillo in Bulgaria that's about 200 adults. Nice. And are those the ones that have grown up in your culture, or are those ones you've caught to get a culture started? That's a pretty good number at any rate. Nice number. And if I could ask you a favor, those of you who are watching and enjoying the live stream, if you could hit that like button, we'll get some attention and get some more people in here. Okay, you caught them. Nice. Okay. Yeah, they take a while to get breeding, but they will eventually reproduce. In my experience, they take a lot longer than some of the other captive strains. Wet sleeves. Do you keep shrimp? I do. I keep, I see the likes starting to come in. Thank you, everybody. I keep opaiula currently, the Hawaiian cave shrimp, and they are a lot of fun. They're tiny. They're a lot smaller than Neocaridina shrimp. They max out at probably ½ inch, maybe even a little less than that, and a lot thinner than Neocaridina shrimp. They are brackish water shrimp, strictly brackish water. They'll only breed in brackish water. They can't survive in freshwater very long, and they don't really breed very well in full salt water, but they can survive in it. And I've got hundreds of them. I have a 10-gallon tank, a 5-gallon tank, a 3-gallon tank, and a 2-gallon tank, all with lots of opaiula in them. Probably, it's hard to say, but somewhere between 300 and 500 maybe. I don't know. I've kept other shrimp. I've kept, in the marine world, I've kept peppermint shrimp. In brackish, just opaiula, but in freshwater, I've kept Neocaridina, as well as Amano shrimp. So, yeah. Thanks for the likes, folks. Kyle Spotted Bear says, I want to catch some Walter worms, but I have no idea where to look. Well, catching Walter worms can be tricky. I've tried it a couple of times without any success. But they say if you take a potato and cut a 1-inch hole through it, bury the potato for a week in moist, like forest soil or garden soil, then come dig it up, that inside some Walter worms will have gathered, or microworms or some other similar free-living nematode that you can culture in the same way. But it's never succeeded for me. Once I pulled up the potato, it was totally rotten. Once it was too dry. I live in kind of a deserty area, so it's not the greatest place to try it, but it's worth a go. Brevy TV says, if anyone has recommendations for frog suppliers, I'm happy to hear them. For that particular species, I'm not sure. But I've worked with Josh's frogs and had good experiences with them, and I think they might carry some of those. I'm not sure. They've broadened their species that they supply now into reptiles and other things, as well as dart frogs, and so they may just have those as well. Harley says, is it bad to have teeny red mites? Well, it depends. Some tiny red mites can be really bad, and some are not particularly harmful. So it kind of depends on what they're doing. And if they're in your isopod cultures and they don't seem to be bugging the isopods, it's not necessarily bad. It could be just grain mites or other types of mites, detritus mites. If they're really going to town, like breeding a lot and starting to outcompete the isopods, definitely bad. And Wet Sleeve says, oh, fancy, really cool. Want to get me some Sulawesi shrimp. Those are some amazingly beautiful shrimp. I've looked into them too. They are super cool. It's only illegal if you're caught. So you actually can drive a digger. That's cool. And Harley says, what do you feed your isopods? Well, I feed them all kinds of vegetables. Like right now, zucchini are in season, and so I'm giving them lots of slices of zucchini. I give them winter squash, pumpkin, give them various types of fruit. They like apple, they like oranges. I give them a little banana. What else do I give them? I've given them lettuce. I give them bug burger. I give them fish food pellets. In addition, of course, to the leaves, the fallen leaves that I give them. So those are some of the things that I feed them. I've fed them other things too, I'm sure. They'll eat sheds too, shed skins of other animals. Sometimes I'll toss those in. Okay. Kyle Spotted Bear says, I love dart frogs, but I'm not sure if they like this climate either. And you live in Montana. Well, definitely they don't like it in the winter, but as long as your temperature in your house doesn't go below like 65 and it doesn't go above 80, most dart frogs will be okay. Between 70 and 78 or so would be ideal. And it depends on the species, of course. Like my bumblebees can go up to 85, but I try not to have that happen. Samuel Tennyson, hey, welcome and thanks for dropping by. I'm doing fairly well. Happy to be here and happy that you're in the live stream. And Little Bob, yeah, I think mites are usually competitors or parasites. There's just one exception. That's when they are predators on other mites. So that could happen too. I've had the predatory mites in some of my enclosures, and they eat the other mites, so those are good. Elaine Smith says, is 3% bleach solution okay to clean a used aquarium? Yes, it is. Meaning like when you buy it from the store and it's in the 3% solution. Yes, you can. I would dilute it some if it's like the household bleach stuff. I would dilute it and put like a cup per gallon or so, something like that, half a cup per gallon. But I've used those in aquariums as long as you make sure it's completely rinsed, and preferably you've let it sit and or used a chlorinator after you've rinsed it out thoroughly. If you've let it sit for 24 hours or just used a chlorinator in the water to make sure there's no traces of it, then it's okay. I mean, you know, there are dangers with bleach, but in terms of causing problems with your animal life, as long as you get rid of every trace of it, you'll be fine. It's a lot safer to use than soap, for example. I have used it to clean aquaria before without problems. Harley says, I have a 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter container. It has soil, oak leaves, carrots, and also the mites have a fair few. Ah, okay. Yeah. Often mites will come if there is too much food. And do you have springtails? Springtails will help. Springtails will help outcompete mites. Hey, George is in the house too. Crystal Casade says, do you have snails, land or water ones? I do. I have a couple of species. Let's see. Right now I have trumpet snails. I have a few species of nerites, including zebra nerites, olive nerites, and I think I may have one or two tiger nerites. I have, let's see, I have cap snails, the Acroloxus species, and I have assassin snails. I don't have any land snails at the moment, though I have kept them before, but I don't have any right now. But yeah, I like snails a lot, and I've kept other species as well. I've bred mystery snails, I had ram's horn snails, I've had various pond snails, different types. Harley says, there was a dead isopod in my culture and it was missing some exoshell. Would that be mites or its friends ate him? Probably his friends ate him. They tend to do that with the dead ones, although the mites would probably help too. Kyle Spotted Bear says, on my Gammarus amphipod culture I got wild, has little black dots on them. No bright orange dots, thankfully. But it looks like teeny specks of pepper on them. Not sure what they are. They might be mites. Yeah, that's something I haven't encountered. That's interesting. I don't know what those are. It could be mites, I guess. I like your pun, though. Mark Osborne, hi, welcome. Glad you joined us. Little Bob says, Olympus Reptiles is streaming. Arg, whose stream do I go to? You could just jump back and forth. You could do that. Crystal Casati says, I have garden land snails with pill bugs. Nice. Nice. Which species are they? Get the giant land snail. I think it's an African something. Oh yes, there's the African giant land snail. The species is Achatina fulica, is at least one of the common species that's kept in captivity, but we can't keep it in the US. Completely illegal here. Got introduced to Florida, caused a lot of problems. They have them in Hawaii. They're all over the place. I remember they get so big that I saw something ahead of me once, was walking and I said, somebody left a shoe there, and it wasn't a shoe, it was one of those snails, and it was just about as big as a shoe. They get huge. But they are illegal, and they're also a vector for a parasite. I think it's a rat lungworm that can cause encephalitis in humans if ingested raw. So some people eat those snails and they've gotten that disease from them. Samuel Tennyson says, I just moved to an extremely arid place, and do you think I would be able to find some out in the desert? Maybe. I've found isopods in the desert before. You're speaking about isopods, right? I have found isopods in the desert. I was out in the middle of the desert not too long ago, flipping rocks, and in the bottom of a wash found a few isopods. I can't remember if they were Porcelionides pruinosus or Porcellio scaber. I think they were Porcellio scaber. But it was pretty dry, but because it was at the bottom of a wash, they were some in there. Mark Osborne says, got some African dwarf frogs for a planted 20 liter. They are a blast to watch. They are fun. I've kept them several times. Some of my really old videos on my channel feature my African dwarf frogs. They're a lot of fun, especially when they hunt. That's my favorite part. I love to put some Daphnia in with them, or some amphipods, and watch them go to town. You can get them to sing sometimes. I actually had a pair that produced tadpoles for me once. I wasn't prepared for it, and the tadpoles did not survive, but I was feeding them. I had them in about, it was about a four or five, somewhere around there, gallon tank, fairly shallow. It was planted with, I want to say it was dwarf Sagittaria. Yeah, that's what it was. It was dwarf Sagittaria, and I was feeding them lots of things, but especially flightless fruit flies. I would sprinkle the flightless fruit flies on the top, and the water was fairly shallow in this tank. It was a long tank, kind of a custom tank. And so it was only maybe 4 to 6 inches tall, something like that. And they would come right up and grab the flies off the surface. And I was doing that a lot, and they produced these tadpoles. One day I just looked in there and there were eggs and tadpoles everywhere. So that was cool. I tried to raise them, but I wasn't ready for it, like I said, so they didn't make it. The tadpoles of that species need to eat moving live food. They don't recognize it as food if it's not live. So they need things like infusoria at first, and then they go into baby brine shrimp. But that is super cool. And how many do you have in there? In a 20 liter, that's like 5 gallon-ish. That's cool. So Crystal Casari says, mine is just garden lens snails I found in my garden. I live in Kansas. Yeah, you can. Are they the ones that are red, the kind of the reddish shell, or are they ones with more of a brownish shell? Oh, no problem, Samuel. I think we figured it out. So. Oh, Olympus is cutting some little ball python eggs. Cool. Harley says, check out my channel. I uploaded a video of the mite and isopods. You can see mites around 20 seconds. Please look to help, please. Cool. Yeah, I can do that. I can't do it right now because I can't do it during the live stream, but I can do it later and check it out. So I have your name here. I should be able to get to that. So, so Mark says, I heard they're hard to rear. Yeah, definitely, because they eat that live food. Kyle Spotted Bear, will Daphnia thrive with Java moss or no plants? I will say I prefer not to do them with plants. They don't seem to do all that well with plants in an indoor tank setup. You know, in a large pond, they'll do okay, but not so much in a tank. It doesn't seem to work that well. So, oh, Mark Osborne says 20 gallon long. Okay, yeah, that's plenty big. You can keep quite a few in there. And you got the brown snails, Crystal. Okay, cool. Whoa, I'm sorry, Mr. Snake. That's no fun. Stacks of homework. Yeah, it makes it hard to do other things, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I see what you say, little Bob. I'm glad this is a fairly peaceful stream. We don't have things like cursing and screaming and discriminatory comments, because I don't want any of those nasty things, and I'm really happy that we have a community here where people will just watch and participate on the topic, and it's great. So I do appreciate that, everyone. It's pretty awesome. Thank you for being that way. Well, we are just about to the wrap-up point. I've got about a minute, so if you have anything else you would like to contribute to the live stream, any questions you'd like to ask, go ahead and throw those out, and I will do my best. Yeah, like Mark says, we're pretty mellow here, and I am glad. That's the kind of vibe I like, family-friendly kind of vibe. So makes me pretty happy. Glad of that. Well, I have a lot of fun stuff coming, so keep watching, everybody, and I'm going to film. I have about, I don't know, 10 videos that I need to film. So I'm going to try to knock some of those out tonight, a couple. Kyle Spotted Bear says, was your first dart frog? My 3 bumblebees plus an auratus that my friend Frank gave me. Oh, so Sammy, you're in Sweden. You're from Sweden, but you're in the US. Okay, cool. And thank you, Mark, and take care of yourself. Thank you for joining, as always. And I sterilize soil. Okay, last question. I sterilize soil, yes. I heat it in the oven about 200 degrees for half an hour-ish, and it seems to work. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Got to go film some more videos, but I really appreciate it, and have a good night.